When you heard the word Alzheimer's, what did that do to you?
I was devastated.
What makes this story so unusual is that almost every year for the past 10 years, we've interviewed Mike and Carol as Alzheimer's took over her brain. Even though this is intensely personal, they wanted all of us to see the devastating impact of Alzheimer's on each of them over a decade.
What's your husband's name?
My husband?
Your husband's name?
Yeah.
The guy sitting to your left?
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what side of the world you're in. I'm HalfLifeSistah, and this is my hubby, Wolfgang.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to my channel and to another episode of Sister and the Wolf Reaction. We're back with another patron request presented to you by Lori Michelle.
Lori Michelle.
My pookie pie, okay?
My nemesis.
Don't do that.
In a good way. Thank you for your support,
another
as always.
Spiritbox. Are you excited?
Well, interesting note. This is our, third Spiritbox song?
It is. Dope.
The other two were good, right?
Good songs, yeah.
Not necessarily in my genre, and when someone requests something, I want to be able to like it,
Me too,
so I dug in to try to understand, in the videos she's not really acting the way she sings.
I don't know why that you were so hung up on that.
I meant to Google them live.
What do you
Chances
mean?
are they were just, I want to see if she sings deadpan. I got to know her a little bit better. I watched some videos about talking about how she learned to scream, and I got to see her personality a little bit. And I'm trying to bring her into context so that I can enjoy the music a little bit more. And again, and I said this in the other reactions, it's not Spiritbox, it's me. I'm just not crazy about metalcore in general. So that music doesn't really move me. So it has nothing to do, because musically they sound excellent, and to me, I hear they're doing everything right. It's just, not necessarily the kind of music that necessarily gets me excited and energized.
And that's okay.
But I'm definitely want to continue to give it another shot, and that's what Lori wants, and give it a good go, Try to be absolutely fair to the band as possible.
Thank you, baby, for your continued love and support. I love you too.
Absolutely.
Lori and I have formed a beautiful relationship, okay?
Indeed.
Yes, we have. And you're so sweet and authentic and so loving, so supportive and kind. And I feel very fortunate to have you in my space, my emotional space. So thank you, baby.
Well,
so
I'm happy
I love
that
you
you're connecting with.
I'm happy too. I'm a people person.
You are.
And I love meeting new people and engaging and interacting.
I'm not, but I like watching you do it.
Oh my God!
Oh, and by the way, merch came in, HalfLifeSistah.com. This is the design that I was talking about in the other reactions. So if you like it or you want to check it out, HalfLifeSistah.com. We got different colors, gold and stuff, different designs. I love it.
It looks
I think this
better
is the most
in
metal thing
person
you've
than
done.
than on the screen. Thank you, babe.
I think this looks
I appreciate
amazing.
it.
So
Thank you
this
so
is probably
much.
my favorite designs you've made so far.
Thank you, darling.
Absolutely metal. Totally keeping it metal here.
Indeed.
Love it,
Yes.
love it, love it.
Thank you, baby.
So let's
Wow.
get into it. Did Lori send us a message?
She did, actually.
Okay, so she's bringing us Spiritbox Constance. Okay, the official music video. This song is a complete 180 from what they normally do. Okay, Constance was released in December. It's a song that's a tribute to Courtney's grandmother, who passed away in 2020.
Yes.
Due to COVID.
Yes. Craziness. So
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
She was unable to say goodbye before she passed, as most are, because once they get COVID, they get
can't.
isolated.
Yeah.
And they pass away alone. It's very sad.
Ooh.
I see nurses crying all the time about it, and my sister and my nephew are nurses, and I hear the stories that are going on. These fucking people who say that COVID is a hoax. Go to the goddamn hospital, see what's going on there. Jackasses who thinks it's a hoax. The whole world is reacting, and you think something that the entire world is reacting is a hoax. What the fuck? What do you think is happening then? The videos. I gotta be careful with my tangents here, so I don't want to get too ranty. The video's director collaborated. It just makes me upset.
I know, it upsets me as well.
It's anger-inducing.
Oh, guys.
The stupidity
vomit. It's
can make you really angry. the video's director, when something is so obvious,
It's
when something
a
is so
lot.
obvious, it's so infuriating when people just create their own realities.
I have to stay off of social media. I've been away from social media for probably 3 weeks now. I can't.
Okay, let me get to this message. The video's director collaborated with her to make this as well. Mm-hmm. His grandmother, still alive at this time,
Yes.
has been dealing with dementia for a period of time. Another horrible thing, to slowly see the person you know kind of just disappear, even though the person's alive. It's so sad. Her name is Constance. Okay,
Oh yeah, that's
Courtney's
the part that
performance.
touched me when I read that.
So that's where the name comes from. Courtney's performance of this song is very beautiful and haunting at the same time. You'll definitely want to have a box of tissues handy. Do you have a box of
I have
tissues
at least
handy?
one.
Okay. This song hits very close to me as I lost my grandfather to Parkinson's disease years
Sorry,
ago.
baby.
Sorry to hear that as well. Yeah, I had a little connection with dementia when one of my customers when I was doing real estate had
I think you
dementia,
mentioned this to me before.
and I helped her sell her condo.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating because she was one of those people who was very sharp in life. So what would happen is she would come in and out. And as I was talking to her, she would come in, and then when she would have these moments she'd pause and she'd like hit her head a little bit and be like, come on, like I know it's in there.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was very sad because I'm seeing what I know was a very sharp lady, and it was fascinating to see how like your instrument is failing you, and it must be so frustrating to still be conscious of it. There's that point before you're completely gone that you're still in that moment where you're like, God, I feel like I'm messing up, and it's sad. And then to see your loved ones have that go through them. There was this Nightline story where they followed a guy and his wife, I think for like over 20 years, where his wife had dementia, and they would check in from time to time, and they would drop in and give us updates. And you would just slowly see the progression and everything. It was just the saddest thing in the world. So I feel it. So, okay. Let's give it a try. And what can I say that I haven't said before on this channel? Life is full of challenges, and reality is scary, and we get ranty and we get mad at these people making up their realities, but I can't help but wonder if some of all this craziness is why they create their own realities. Moving on, I'm sorry. Let's go.
Dying sun burns in the night. I watch it glow. It's so hard for me. Speaking pressure and increment. Like a slow-moving curve. Memories disappear.
Wow.
When I am holding you.
Wow.
Give us a minute. Blow your nose like a toddler.
Ew.
I've never seen anyone blow their nose like
Oh
you.
my God.
I'm sorry, no one ever taught you how to blow your nose. We went from
Oh, boy.
from Spiritbox to tears. Good job.
Yes.
So all right, Spiritbox made us cry.
It's
There you go.
you know. Anyway.
Hard not to cry because of the subject matter.
Yes. But I will say that
Song's
her
great,
voice
though,
was
that-
beautiful in
Yeah.
this song.
Yeah.
It really stood out a lot. You can hear she has a beautiful, clean voice.
Pretty singing voice. And I love the guitar work on this
Oh,
song.
the guitar
when
was
it opened up,
really, really, really good. Yes, it was.
Breakdown in the end was cool. Kind of gives you the vibe of, that frustration that I was talking
Yes,
about.
yes, they did a good job
the,
with
the
that.
cognitive decline.
Indeed, baby, they did a really
You
good
saw
job
in the
with
video
that.
she's looking at a picture and she doesn't recognize it.
Oh
It's-
man.
And it's frustrating. It's anger inducing.
Oh. And then seeing the people at the end,
Yeah.
one by one disappear.
Yeah.
That's
And-
how people's lives are being taken. Life is just not promised to us, pandemic or not.
Yeah, the band did a good performance there as well, because towards the end, when they were all just kind of standing there, it really made me well up, because I kind of felt like I could see them like reflecting on the people that they love.
Yeah. Well, you said it. Okay, listen. It's here, okay? It's here.
Yeah.
And I needed it. I needed it.
Indeed.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for the warning, though. Probably would have been worse if we didn't have a kind of like a heads up, of what the subject matter was. I know it helped me a little bit because I knew what to expect, so I could deal with it a little bit better. Still makes me sad, but just there comes a point where the brain can only take so much. If something is really awful, you'll laugh
Yeah.
because
yeah.
it's like a protective
Mechanism.
mechanism to deal with what's happening.
To reflect.
And when you actually look at the numbers and actually you reflect on the loss that happened in 2020 and is still happening now, and we have like this hope on the horizon with the vaccines,
Yeah.
and then we get hit with all the different variants from the
I
different
know.
places.
It's insane.
And it's just this back and forth, and the only way to really be able to handle this, in all honesty, is be patient.
Yes.
If you're that person who's looking for that end goal or end date, you will drive yourself nuts.
And I just don't
you just
understand.
need to live in the moment.
Babies, please, this will pass in a few years. No time soon.
Well, keep in mind, it may never pass. We may end up living with this as
Yeah,
normal.
I believe that.
But it's just that because we're not vaccinated and we don't have herd immunity, the death toll is right now is just astronomical.
I don't understand why some of us are. I get it. I understand because, the need to want to be around people and, I get it. But during a pandemic, I don't understand why some of us are still having gatherings and going out into the world, going to restaurants, eating inside of restaurants.
The restaurant thing, I think, is an unnecessary risk. Just take your food home.
Take your food home.
Support the businesses because they need it.
Right.
Order the food, but take it home with you. Just don't eat in the restaurant.
It's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
But the thing is, there's ways to do it safely. It's just why, if you know you're going to have an event and you can quarantine yourself, because listen, the UFC has been having events. Obviously they're a rich company and they bought their own island and they quarantine everyone.
We're talking about regular people though, baby, not
right.
big.
But think of a family of, let's say, 10 or 12 or something. If they all genuinely quarantine, like not cheat, but genuinely quarantine for a couple of weeks.
But that's the thing,
technically
though.
you can do it if you all are on the same mind.
Of course.
But you really do have to be diligent and careful, though.
Yeah.
But situations with the elderly, there's nothing they could have done. A lot of these people in these old folks' homes, they were Cuomo, his dumbass lying about the numbers and stuff. Like,
what do you mean?
He's in hot water right now because he lied about the amount of deaths that they had in their elderly homes. It's a whole thing. He didn't, and there's a whole thing to it. There's a bit more nuance to it because he lied because he was scared of Trump's reaction to it. And that's what you have when you have a kind of a leader who is
dictator,
like irrational and you can't really deal with. But that's still wrong. I've never been a huge fan of Cuomo. I've told you that. Him and de Blasio I've never been a huge fan of. Because you're Democrats doesn't mean you're
I agree.
You're making all the right choices. What I'm really talking about is the difficulty of reality and how everyone deals with it differently, right? Some people hide in religion. Some people can accept reality. People like me have no issues with reality, but I accept
reality,
it.
but it's very hard.
Right. You're a bit more of a sensitive. Like, we're both sensitive, but I have noticed that you are more sensitive than I am, and to the point where you have to abstain a bit from the news. You know it exists, but you simply hearing it really weighs on your soul.
It really does.
Where for me, I just look at it as kind of like, when you see a lion eating a deer. It's sad, but
that's also hard for me.
No, I know that. That's what I'm saying. But I can handle it because I somehow accept it as a part of nature. So I accept some of this behavior as a side effect of just the fact that everyone has different intelligence levels, primal levels, and some of us are still a bit too simplistic and animalistic. And while it hurts me to see the pain and suffering that is a result of that, I do accept it as a bit of it as being nature. So for me, it's a little easier to handle. But however you deal with it, the one way that people have started to deal with it en masse, because this is we're talking millions of people now. We're not talking a small amount of people have started creating their own realities. To a certain extent, religious people do that, obviously, because religion is made up, you are creating your own reality, and it's giving you comfort.
Yeah, I was
but
one of those
this
people.
is so much more toxic. As toxic as I believe religion is, this is so much more toxic because you are creating now a foundation that the world can't sustain. And then what's fascinating is you're constantly battling between the two sides, proving that you're not like the other side. Meanwhile, everything you accuse the other side of doing is there's one example. If I can, not to get too political here, but Jesus, if we're trying to make the world a better place, we have to come on some sort of understanding. It's like we had the Capitol riot. Okay, these people genuinely believe that
it's weird.
That the government was trying to steal the votes and trying to change the government. The thing is, the thing that they were afraid of doing is the thing they were trying to do.
Yes.
But from their perspective, they didn't know that because they were being lied to and they were being conned by the people that they did believe who, for some reason, they can't understand are con men. So they're being conned by known con men who have conned their entire lives, and they believe the con. And for whatever reason, like I said, because they may be afraid of other realities and the alternative might be too scary, but to attack the Capitol, under
Like,
false
really, though.
pretenses, and to not understand the difference. See, to
Even
them,
if they were right,
to them, no, don't be so sure, because if they were right, baby,
they're attacking. So if you're right, you get to just do something illegal like that. I never ever condone the violence part.
I understand that. Violence
But
is a side effect of protest.
I understand that as well.
If there is a totalitarian regime, it is the duty of the people to stand up against that regime.
I agree with that.
Okay, so
I'm just saying, I don't
if,
condone.
for example, police become violent against its citizens,
Which they
continue to kill them, then we have a right to go up against them and fight them under false pretenses. If you're attacking the Capitol under false pretenses because what's happening is not what's happening, then no, you of course can't do that. If there is a coup, if people try to take over our American government,
Right.
we have a duty as citizens to fight against that.
I agree with that.
The problem is that that's not what happened. What happened was
Right.
people are creating their own reality
Right.
and acting upon that information.
Right.
It's like the most extreme version of religion, right? You can't take religion to an extreme because it leads to violence.
Right. I agree with all of that, but the reality is there are layers, and I feel that you can't. It's not like comparing apples to apples. You murdering
It's called
somebody.
nuance.
Nuance is important. I get that, but that's the thing, though. What they're fighting for is they think that the election was stolen from them. Is that really enough to go and threaten people and take their lives?
It's enough to protest and
It's enough to
become violent,
protest.
yes.
Not the violent part, babe.
No, it just will lead to violence. It's natural. Because the people who are trying to take over are going to try to stop you. You're going to let them?
Listen, there are levels, and you're right. There are nuances. So,
The difference is, are you for fighting for because listen, revolution is a normal part of history.
I know
and
that.
we look upon good revolution positively.
well, yeah.
Right. So no one
Was
is
that a good revolution?
No.
If they were right that they were trying to steal the votes, was that a decent revolution?
Well, yeah, of course.
I don't know.
If anything, they shouldn't have stopped if they really believed. They should have kept going. Why'd they stop? They're letting the government being taken over by
It's just
communists and fascists? The point is, that's not what's happening.
Right, I know it's not.
So they're going to get shut down because most people have common sense and understand what's going on.
Half of the people in the country.
The only reason we're lucky is because right now we outnumber the idiots. Okay? So they're going to get shut down. To be more clear, so you understand, it's the difference between Antifa, right? They use Antifa as a boogeyman, okay? Someone who is an anti-fascist, okay, is someone who is going to fight against real, actual injustice that's happening. Okay?
Yeah.
So basically, if what was happening is that they were trying to stop a fascist government, they themselves, those Trump supporters, would have technically been Antifa because they're fighting against a fascist in their mind.
Okay.
The problem is they're not fighting against a fascist, they're actually on the side of the fascist.
Right.
They're actually on the side of the wannabe dictator. So they are the enemy whether they know it or not.
Yes.
So
course.
the real question becomes, because you can't change their minds with information because they've been taught to disregard all information and only go with the information from the source that is lying to them. So you can't change their mind that way, right? So, and I've said this in another reaction, the only way to really change their mind is to simply show them a better way. That takes a long time and that's going to be super hard. And why am I ranting about this on a video about someone passing from coronavirus? Because the whole reason Trump lost is because he was one of those people who thought that you could just ignore the pandemic, ignore the reality that's happening around you and just move on with your life, preventing those deaths in their mind, even though they could have prevented those deaths. Those deaths are on their hands because, quite frankly, it was the lack of policy, the lack of any real action that was actually worth something. Everything he did was for show, shutting down flights from places where it was irrelevant because it was here. I'm not going to get into the details. The point is the reason why I'm ranting about this is because it was that very fundamental failure of creating your own reality and believing things that are not factual that has exacerbated what was already going to be a bad problem, but it exacerbated even more. And the question is, how much longer are we going to allow this to go on, and how are we going to fix it? Because it seems to be getting bigger, not smaller, even though it's so blatantly, obviously stupid. What the hell are we going to do about that?
Nothing. You can't do anything about it.
Anyway, looking forward to the comments section. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
It was a ride, all right.
I enjoyed this Spiritbox song. Very nice.
I did too.
I'm coming around to this band. I am.
That's good. I'm glad.
I'm glad you're
I'm
glad.
exhausted emotionally. I'm a little emotionally spent tonight.
Understand. I'm glad we saved this for last.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we thought it would be like a really quick and easy one.
Yeah, and then we didn't know what
we
didn't know what it was
Set
about.
up, you know. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video. I mean,
Is it possible to enjoy this?
I don't know. But if you did, or you didn't, no, if you did, give us a thumbs up.
And if you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Who gives a shit?
I'm good. Comment below. Do not leave without subscribing, but also do share our content as well.
Yeah. Check out the merch, HalfLifeSistah.com. Click the bell to get notified. And as always, guys,
As always,
keep it metal.
Better forever, baby.
Take care of
Love you,
yourselves.
Lauren. You're so beautiful. Yes.
Try to help the people
Around you.
around you who need help.
Yes.
Try to make the world a smarter place.
Yes.
One person at a time. We'll see what happens.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Unbequeme geschichtliche Tatbestände, wie dass die Hitlerherrschaft von einer Mehrheit des deutschen Volkes unterstützt oder dass Frankreich im Jahre 1940 von Deutschland besiegt wurde,
Or the
oder auch
Vatican's
die
pro-fascist policies in World War
politische
II are treated not as facts, but things about which one can be of this or that opinion. What's at stake here is factual reality itself, and this indeed is a political issue of the first order. That people don't acknowledge facts when they contradict their advantage or interest is such a common phenomenon that it may be thought that being at war with truth is within the very nature of human affairs, both political and pre-political. It's as if people are generally unable to come to terms with things about which nothing more can be said than they are as they are, in a bare facticity which cannot be shaken by argument or persuasion. Viewed from the standpoint of politics, truth is despotic, and that's why tyrants hate it and fear competition with it. A statement of fact is not political in itself. The statement, Germany invaded Belgium in August of 1914, only acquires political importance when put into the appropriate context. But the opposite statement, Belgium invaded Germany in 1914, which Clemenceau, still unacquainted with the art of rewriting history on a large scale, thought absurd, is purely political from the outset and can't be understood otherwise. It represents an attempt to change the past, and all statements that aim to alter existence are forms of action. The same applies when the liar lacking power to make his falsehood stick declares that it's just his opinion on the matter, which he then claims a right to free expression. Subversive groups have often used this tool, and to a politically untrained public, the resulting confusion can be considerable. Blurring the line between facts and opinions is one of the various forms of lying, which in turn are modes of action. The traditional political lie, as we know it from the history of diplomacy and statecraft, used to involve either genuine secrets, i.e., facts not publicly known, or intentions that don't have the same reliability as accomplished facts. What only goes on within us, i.e., intentions, motives, and the like, are not reality, but potentiality. And what was intended as a lie can still turn out to be true. From all this, there can be no question about the organized political lies that we face today. These lies do not concern secrets, but well-known facts. Contemporary historiography in Soviet Russia can deny facts with impunity and great effectiveness, even when everyone can still remember another reality. And the same applies to image making, which is so popular in the West, where all known facts can be discarded with impunity if they are likely to disrupt the desired image of an event, a nation, or person. The image of political propaganda isn't supposed to flatter the original like a portrait, but replace it. The deceivers, as well as the deceived, are careful not to let their propaganda image be threatened by any reality. And so this kind of propaganda feels much less threatened by the actual enemy and hostile interests, whose information would not be accepted anyway, than by those in their own group who insist on talking about facts and events which don't correspond with the image. Modern history is full of examples in which simple reporting is perceived to be more dangerous and hostile than any propaganda. All these lies, whether their authors are aware or not, are potentially violent. Every organized lie tends to destroy whatever it has decided to negate, although only totalitarian rulers have consciously used lies as the first step to murder. When Hitler declared in the famous Reichstag speech of January 30th, 1939, that Jewry was instigating an international world war to exterminate the Aryan people of Europe, and this time Jewry would go down, he clearly announced in the language of totalitarian rulers, "I'm preparing for war against Jews and their extermination." When Trotsky learned his name didn't appear in Stalin's version of the history of the Russian Revolution, he must have known that Stalin intended to kill him.
So läuft der Unterschied zwischen traditionellen und modernen politischen Lügen im Grunde auf den Unterschied zwischen Verbergen und Vernichten hinaus.
Moreover, the traditional lie always concerned details alone and wasn't meant to deceive everyone. It has often been noticed that the surest result of so-called brainwashing isn't a change in view, but a cynicism that refuses to accept anything as true at all. Where facts are consistently replaced by lies and complete fiction, it turns out that there is no replacement for truth. For the result isn't at all that the lie will now be accepted as truth and the truth defamed as a lie, but that the sense in which we orient ourselves in reality, which itself cannot function without the very distinction between the truth and falsehood, is destroyed. And there's no cure for this because it is an implication of the arbitrariness inherent within all facts. Since everything which has happened could have been otherwise, the possibilities for lying are endless, and such endless possibilities undermines consistent lying. Consistent lying is groundless in the truest sense of the term. It pulls the ground out from under one's feet without being able to provide another ground on which one could stand. As Montaigne had said, if falsehood, like truth, had but only one face, we would better know where we were. For we then take as certain the opposite of what the liar says. But the reverse of truth has 1,000 forms and an unlimited range. More important in our context is that power, by its very nature, is never capable of providing a substitute for the security and stability of factual reality which, because it is rooted in the past, belongs to a dimension which escapes our access. Facts are stubborn, and despite their vulnerability which was discussed at the beginning, they have an odd toughness linked to the fact that, like the result of all human action, they cannot be undone. In their stubbornness, facts are superior to all combinations of power. Power is transitory. It arises when people organize together for a particular purpose and disappears whenever that goal is achieved or lost. Because of its intrinsic inability, power alone cannot be relied on. And this means that not only truths and facts are unsecure there, but falsehood and lies as well. Political thought and judgment moves between the danger of considering the factual to be necessary and thus unalterable, and the danger of denying it and trying to erase it from the world via lying. Though truth is powerless and is always defeated in a head-on clash with the ruling powers, truth has a strength of its own. Persuasion and violence can destroy truth, but they can't ever replace it. Even the simple preservation and expression of facts implies considerably more than the daily information of the press, although without it, we never would find our bearings in an ever-changing world. What's understood by reality is never identical with the sum total of facts and events which are accessible to us, and it wouldn't be even if we somehow managed to get a hold of all objective data. Whoever tries to say what is cannot help but tell a story. And in this story, the facts already loses their original arbitrariness and acquire a meaning that makes sense to us human beings. To the extent that saying what is becomes storytelling, it achieves that reconciliation with reality that Hegel says is the ultimate goal and interest of philosophy, and which is indeed the secret motor of all historiography, transcending more learnedness. For historiography, the purely factual is the raw material from whose transformation arises the stories of history.
Wahrheit könnte man begrifflich definieren als das, was der Mensch nicht ändern kann.
Metaphorically
Metaphorisch
speaking,
gesprochen
it is the
der
ground on
Grund,
which we
auf dem
stand,
wir stehen
and
und
the
der
sky
Himmel,
which
der
stretches
sich über
above
uns
us.
erstreckt.